I guarantee it, you are not as afraid of rejection as much as you think you are. If you just pause to reflect for a moment, I guarantee it, you'll realize rejection isn't the leading fear of yours. It's the consequences that come of rejection. Well, why is this? Let's say you're going to talk to a girl, right? You probably have a lady in mind, so you're going to go talk to her. You're already familiar with the consequences of talking to her. You already know the odds of you getting a yes or a no are. So the rejection isn't the problem. It's rather the consequences of the rejection that's the problem. You're afraid of what she'll think of you and how those thoughts will influence your life. You're afraid of the consequences of a misinterpreted intention. They are dangerous after all, and as men, we are unfortunately overly familiar with them. Howdy, my name is Nolan Painter, and if you have a fear of rejection and you want me to help you get over it, I highly recommend watching this video in its entirety and maybe even sharing it with a buddy. Nevertheless, if this video is not enough, I have a one-on-one accountability call where I'd be really willing to help you seek out what it is you desire in a very healthy, habitual manner. Nevertheless, why is it that we fear rejection? Granted, it's not necessarily the rejection we're worried about, as we know it's likely or imminent even. It's the other things, the consequences. But why is it that we prioritize this fear of the no? Well, the truth is men fear not being enough. We fear embarrassing ourselves in front of the people we know. We fear saying she's the one when we go out to our friends and then we go to her and she completely demolishes us and all of a sudden we look like idiots. We're worried people are going to judge us. We're worried we're going to be thought of weird or having poor intentions. And we're worried we're not going to have a value. Women are endlessly valued. They will always have men to protect them, and they will always have family to care for them. But men are not valued based off of how willing they are, but rather their success. You can be infinitely willing to ask out any girl, but no one's going to care about you unless you're successful. So men are worried if they are unsuccessful in their attempts to ask a girl out or get a job, that the rejection is going to decrease their value. And they're kind of right to an extent. It is worrisome because if you keep on getting rejected, you're kind of less of a man. Or are you? Because the truth is, rejection only hurts if you don't respect yourself. So here's the truth. Rejection isn't a verdict. It's not a final yes or no, but it's rather information. Rejection is telling you, why are you not adequate? Or rather, why isn't she? After all, God brings people into our lives, and he puts us down a specific path to be with someone special. So him not allowing you to be with that chick is likely him preserving you for that person later down the line, or for an even better purpose. So that's one thing to be grateful. Additionally, it shows you have room to grow. Now, I'm not here to tell you, oh, she said no because you're not enough. That's not the case. You're always enough, and you're always beautiful, and you're always loved. I love you after all, and so does God evermore. But nonetheless, rejection gives us an opportunity to learn. It tells us not only she's not interested, so we at least get the relief and the weight off our shoulders so we can move on, and not in a move on in a neglectful way where we hate her, but in a healthy way where we can say, oh, I'm grateful for that experience, right? This path isn't for me. The moment wasn't aligned. But it also shows that maybe we are unattractive or unhealthy, or maybe it shows that we have some work to do. Not unloved and not that we failed, but it does show that we can work on some aspects. And maybe if that doesn't even have to do at all with the rejection, it still acts as a bit of motivation. Okay, now I get to go to the gym and I get to be like all giddy and happy that I'm going to lift some weights again. Or I'm going to go read this book. Or I'm going to get more into my Bible. Or I'm just going to get more firm into these beliefs that I have and really make sure they're the right beliefs to have when it comes to going into a relationship. So don't take it as rejection as this final no, and don't take it as a life-altering event, but rather take it as an opportunity to grow, even if the opportunity doesn't even present itself. The most successful men on the planet, right? I'm talking your top 0.1 percenters, right? These are the men you look up to. These are the best fathers, right? The richest men, the most gentle, the most humble men on the planet, right? These men take anything they can as opportunities to get better, even if in the moment it doesn't make sense. A rejection could just be simply because she has a boyfriend. That has nothing to do with you improving, but you can take it as an opportunity to desire to get better. I love that. I love taking motivation from anything. Life is good, motivation to get better. Life is bad, motivation to get better. You get rejected, motivation to get better. You get accepted, motivation to get better. It's all about improving, even if it doesn't feel like that's the centerpiece of your desire of having in a relationship. So you also have to realize within this, there's a couple things you could avoid just to prepare yourself. So first of all, be wise of your fantasies. Yes, girls also do this, but it's more so legitimate. because women are going to see predictability, they're going to see patterns, and they're going to recognize the future. They're going to foresee it. Men love to fantasize, right? We all have that idea. We all universally recognize it. We love to imagine the wife and the kids, even if the girl doesn't even know us, even if the girl hates us. We love to just imagine these good things, because deep down within every man, no matter how hard he tries to hide it, is a little boy. And you know it, you recognize it exactly off of what I'm saying right now. You have that little boy inside of you who just wants to be loved. And that's a good little boy. He's a good kid. So he dreams about having a family. He dreams about having intimacy and love with his partner. He dreams about good things. But you have to be careful here. These are nice dreams, but who are you having them with? And are you preparing yourself for something that is ultimately not for you? I'm not saying to not indulge in having hope and faith towards something that is good, but I am saying if this is someone you've never met, be patient with yourself, and at least you'll grow in that regard. So such that if it does work, you'll be grateful for it, but if it doesn't work, nonetheless, you'll be grateful to work on yourself and move to the next part of your life. And people like to think moving on means hating the last person, especially girls. Girls will do anything in their power to hate the last relationship they were in. It's how they move on. But as men, we need to be better, right? And especially women too, but we need to be better generally as human beings. We need to be more emotionally intelligent, and that involves moving on healthily. It means appreciating them, praying for them, loving them the best way God can, and moving forward to the next step. That doesn't mean hating. And that comes to the next thing. We can't take everything personally. So rejection isn't about you, it's about what the other person wants. And if they don't want you, then why would you want to be with them? So don't take it personally. I know that's easier said than done. It absolutely is, because we want to make it about us. We're selfish after all, and we want to feel heard. But we can't take it too personally. And of course, as taking it personally, it's not a failure. It really isn't. You didn't lose. If anything, you won. You just asked this random chick out, and you did it, right? That's why I think texting is so annoying, because when you text a girl and she ignores you, you're really weird, right? But if you can just talk to her in person, you get a definitive yes or no. And that is so much nicer, because it takes the weight off of you. You don't need to worry about how she's going to respond. You can comfortably not care. Not caring, not as a result of your arrogance or impudence against people, but not caring because you actually care. And what that means is, you know for a fact everything is okay. It's all in God's plan. They're doing okay without you, and you don't need to bother, right? So many people say, I don't care as a result of arrogance or frustration, but I like to say, I don't care because I know they're in good hands. And that comes with in-person rejection, right? Not when they ignore you. Ignoration or ignorance is frustration. Whoa, that's frustrating. I can't talk. Ignorance is frustrating. So I understand it's difficult, but that brings me back to the last point. You can't take it personally. And even if they do ignore you, even if you get that awkward text, or where it's like, you're on the line and you're just so full of worry and you have this weight on your shoulders and you're so eager, but the timing is so off, just, dude, it's not a failure, right? You got a lot of life ahead of you. And I'm not going to tell you there's many fish in the sea, because just as many as there are fish, there's also whales, and the fish are poisoned by plastic. So it kind of sucks. But there are some good bluefin tuna out there who are calling you, and they're looking for the bait that you have. But that bait's got to be good, which means you got to work on yourself. So who cares? It's just an opportunity to work on yourself at the end of the day. So how do we stop caring about this stuff, right? We're so focused on the consequences, right? We already know for a fact we're going to get a yes or a no, and likely more than not, we're prepared for the no. But it's the consequences are the problem, right? We're so worried about the consequences. How does she think about us? What does this mean? What do our friends think? Am I a failure? So here's how we really just get over this. And it's not a matter of just ignoring it. It's a matter of acknowledging it and using it to our advantage. Good men use every feeling inside of them, even the bad ones, even the odd ones, the weird ones, and they use it to their advantage to become better. Life's not about ignoring it. It's about actually making it a part of you and becoming better. So switch to the outcome doesn't matter mentality, right? The mentality that is, nothing matters because I'm with God, or nothing matters because I know it's going to be okay, right? It's the mentality that says, if something happens, I will be grateful and I am blessed, even if it's not the way I wanted it to happen. And you got to be so attuned and so grateful for no matter what happens. Let me tell you a story. Now, don't bother with this story too much, as it's rather personal, but I did go to this lady's house one time, and this was a lady I'd hung out with a long time, and she cursed me out, and she yelled at me, and she was so mad at me. This was the same lady who said she'd be single for me, and while I was away for school, that she would, look forward to seeing me when I was back home. And she cursed me out and said a bunch of rude stuff. Don't worry about the context. What matters is I was rejected in probably the most embarrassing way a man could have, and the most heart-wrenching way you could imagine. But instead, I wasn't so fixated on what I lost, as in my mind it was already over. Rather, I was grateful because I saw her. I saw her pretty eyes, her luscious hair, uh, and her face. And she was beautiful. And I loved her. So, in rejection, you have to find the beauty within it. You have to force yourself to learn and appreciate even the smallest things. People are going to tell you you're delusional. You don't know what you're talking about, but you're familiar with the situation. You know what the consequences are and you know what you have to do. You know the course of action that's necessary to move on, but you're thankful and you're appreciative of the moment. Science shows you can't worry and have anxiety when you're thankful and appreciative. So that takes a lot of weight off your shoulders when you can just be happy for what's been given to you, even if it sucks. Nonetheless, we have to practice these little rejections in life, right? The little bits of no's, right? Cold approaching strangers. That doesn't mean going, oh, I want to love you, I want to marry you. But it means, hey, can I pay for your meal? Or talking to a homeless person on the street, or asking for directions, or saying, have a great day, or God loves you, or praying for someone on the street, right? That might not be the same, but it gives you a bit more confidence. And girls love confidence, not because it shows you're this big jockey guy, but it just shows you are emotionally intelligent and you're able to handle the consequences of losing the relationship, which I know sounds counterintuitive, but once you understand it one day, you'll realize it kind of makes sense. Though I have separate videos for that, so I'm not going to go into too much for the sake of the time here, but I just want to focus on the whole rejection counterpart, which is building this respect routine. The counter to rejection is acceptance. So why would you reject yourself when everyone else can do that for you? So you have to learn to accept yourself. Not who you are now, but who you want to be in the future. And who you want to be in the future doesn't have to be drastically different from who you are now. Just take the little boy that you are, right? Whether it's this little boy who likes video games, or he likes going to the gym, or he likes playing with Godzilla, or he likes going to movies, or he likes, building relationships, and he's got this awesome family, or whatever it is. You can take this little boy and you can evolve him time over time. This little boy never leaves us, right? People like to say, or men like to say, kill the boy and become a man, but don't do that, right? Chicks dig a guy who actually has a personality and is unique and interesting and has depth to his character. So refine that character, right? Have some daily movement, some daily discipline, some daily structure. Keep promising to yourself that it will be good in the future because God's got your back. He loves you more than anything else, more than any wife could ever love you, actually, if you think about it. So take that little boy that you are now and grow him up to be this bigger, more awesomer little boy. This little boy who goes to the gym and works out and reads books and reads his Bible and he works hard and he's just this awesome little dude. That's what I've been doing for the last few months. I'm still this little boy. I got the same ticklish spots. I like the same nicknames. I like the same cringy little relationship stuff, but I'm a bit more of a man. I work out multiple times a week. I do kickboxing. I read. I learn languages. I'm doing a lot. So I'm still this little boy. You don't have to worry about losing him when you're rejected. You can just embrace him a little more and become just a teensy bit better. That's what it's all about. And now you're getting into your identity. You're shifting your identity. You're going from a man who's so prepared for failure to a man who's so ready for success that even if failure arises, he knows he's one step closer to it. Think about it. If you knew you were only 3 rejections away from your dream wife, right? I'm talking your dream wife, the girl you can lay in her lap and finally be at peace, right? Peace, dude. This godly woman. If you knew you were only 3 rejections away, think about how fast you would be to just burn through all those rejections, right? You'd probably go to the first chick on the street and be like, will you marry me? And she says no, and you're like, yes, 2 more, right? So the sooner you can realize each rejection brings you closer to where you want to be. Obviously, I'm not saying you should go to ask random people on the street if you want to marry them, but the more you realize that rejection and failure in life is essential to success, the more appreciative you'll be of it. If I didn't go through all my stuff, right? I'm talking the bottom of the barrel stuff like depression, suicide, addictions, rejections. I'm talking the whole shebang, right? Losing basically my whole family and all my friends and that relationship like all at the same time. I'm not even joking. But if I didn't lose that, I wouldn't be the man I am today and I wouldn't be helping you. So it sucks, but everything has a silver lining. Everything has something to be grateful for and your identity can follow that. So stop being so hard on yourself. I know easier said than done, but try to be more immensely grateful. And if watching one of Nolan's videos or whoever's videos every day helps build that routine in you, then I'll stick it into you. I'll force it into you, right? You can buy those accountability calls with me and I'll make sure darn well that you get what you're going for. Anyways, you got to take it in as a whole. Rejection isn't a moment. It's not a wound. It's just a data point for you to use to improve your life, right? And if you really want to be selfish about it, then let that person be grateful for rejecting you and then even more thankful for coming back to you after realizing how good of a man you are, right? That's a little hard to wrap your head around, but the whole concept of someone rejecting you, you working on yourself, and then them looping back and saying, wow, if I didn't reject you, you wouldn't have actually became a better man, and I wouldn't have come back to you. So rejection is actually a step up and a moment to actually become better for that person to come back to you. Now, I'm not promising you that whoever rejects you is going to come back in a few months when all of a sudden you're this perfect man, which also likely isn't the case. But you got to be very grateful and hopeful in the moments that it's a redirection, it's not a failure, and it's an ability to step up to this man you want to be, the same man who was the little boy, but now just a little bit better. So ultimately, pardon me, my allergies are going off. It's that time of the year. Respect yourself, lead yourself, and move forward without an apology, right? That doesn't mean you can't be apologetic, doesn't mean you can't be feeling and empathetic towards people. Empathy is probably the most desirable trait in a man when it comes to relationships, but it means you can't be sorry to yourself. So stop being a sad little sorry boy and start being this awesome dude who's got such more of an awesomer future to look forward to in the future. I know my delivery wasn't perfect right there, but you get the point. I'm just some bro on the internet telling you what he's gone through. So hopefully you can look forward to what you have to go through in the future and not be so sad when it does suck. Because if you think about it, if it wasn't so crappy, how could you not be so grateful in the future? I mean, thinking about it now, I wouldn't be so grateful for this future relationship I'm moving into if it wasn't for everything that I've lost, right? And even though I'm not even thinking about relationships right now, well, that's a lie. I'm thinking about them a lot. But even though I'm not actually presenting myself in relationships at this point in my life, dealing with school and moving across the country and doing all sorts of nonsense in my life, not like bad stuff. I'm not partying or anything. Screw that. I would rather die and kill myself than do that. But I'm really busy with business and languages and all sorts of stuff, just all sorts of stuff. But even then, even though I'm not even looking for a relationship right now, I'm still thinking about it and I'm still looking forward to having one in the future. And that only comes from the lack thereof in the past, only comes from my failures. All in all, though, I love you. So don't worry about anyone else. Just know I love you and God loves you more. I promise you I'll see you tomorrow. And, well, you know what? If you want, hit me up and we can figure something out to help you get just a little bit closer to what your dream goals look like. I'll see you tomorrow.